It's time to take a look at the Camunda Cloud Getting Started guide examples. I'm Josh Wolf. I'm a developer advocate at Camunda, and this is Getting Started with Camunda Cloud, which just recently went, in the last week or so, went GA. So Camunda Cloud 1.0 is now out. Okay, let me have a look here. Let's see if I switch to... Let's try this. There we go. Fully sick. Okay, we're in the studio, as it were. My head is clipping here. Let me just move this around a little bit so that it looks different. How do I do that? Can move this down. Can I change the size of it? Nope. I think I need to make it smaller. I just changed my camera angle, which has changed the floating head that I am on the internet. So let's put it there. And then what I do here is I just move this. That's what I need to move. Very good. Okay, so this Camunda Cloud Get Started on the internet. It's in the Camunda Cloud repository under Camunda Cloud Get Started. So I've cloned it out here on my local machine, git clone, and then I've opened it up in IntelliJ. Let's pull this over here like this. There we go. Okay, let's go through this this get start. Move this out of the way. Okay, so Brave browser, here we go. It's got a nice README file, takes through the whole thing. Set up the environment, repository structure, Camunda Cloud, local self-managed setup. So we're going to run this against Camunda Cloud itself, the SaaS version. Repository structure tells you a bit about how it's all structured. Set up the environment. To follow this guide, we need a running Camunda Cloud cluster, either by using the Camunda Cloud SaaS offering or by creating a self-managed local setup. So I have the SaaS offering running right now. And let's have a look. I'll open this one here. I have a 1.0 cluster running in here already. Let's go to console.cloud.camunda.io. I'm just assuming that you've signed up for the free trial beta that's running right now. And I can switch organizations here to my playground where I have a 1.0 cluster running that I use for automated tests for the Node.js client. So I'm going to use that. Okay, so now we'll go back to Brave. Okay, Docker, this is if you want to do self-managed, but everything else is running in the cloud, so it's all good. So in this example, we want to model a simple process to send an email message. Process will consist of 2 tasks. I'm going to edit that because there's a spelling error in it, so I'll submit a patch. Okay, so model process. The process will consist of 2 tasks. Okay, it has been fixed actually. So cancel the changes. Will consist of 2 tasks. A user task to allow a human to enter the message content, and a service task to automatically send the email message. Okay, cool. So, you know, we're going to use the Camunda modeler, the desktop modeler for this. Download the modeler. So you can download the modeler from here. I've already downloaded it. It's on my machine. Actually, I might try both. That'll be fun. So, Camunda modeler. Let's use the Camunda modeler first. Here it is. I've got the Camunda modeler installed, 4.8. You need version 4.8 for this. So here I have BPMN diagram Camunda Cloud. Click on that, create a new Camunda Cloud. So here, add the user task. So this is going to be called a user task. It says enter message. So enter message. And then it has a service task. So set that to service task, end. That's an interesting place to put the end event. But that's cool. We can fix that. And this one says send email. All good. Okay, so does it have any more information about them here? Oh, there we go. Send email. So this is actually the name of the entire, it's got start on here, the name of the entire process and the process ID. So you can see here it has ID, which is send-email. And the name is send email. This is the name of the process. And then this event has end on it like this. Okay, so yeah, we need to put the task types here. Name, ID, a form, send email. So here, I think this is something like this, send email task. And the type is send email, I think, like this. Pretty easy for us to find out because it says the finished process can be found at process sendemail.bpmn. So we'll open that one to compare it with this one. No, I didn't want to do a plus, I want to do an open. Sendemail.bpmn. Here it is. So you can see it looks very much like mine. But let's have a look at the metadata on these. So on this user task, it has an ID enter message task. So if I go back to my diagram, there we go. And then the task type here, it's just email. Okay. That's kind of like the topic that the worker will have to subscribe to complete jobs of this type. So there we go. I've created the model just like the one in the demo. Now, let me see if I can do the same thing using the Cloud Modeler. So I go into my automated tests cluster, my Camunda Cloud 1.0 cluster. And then in here, let's have a look. Applications, operate task list, no, metrics, alerts, no, overview, nope. Okay, let's go back to Camunda Cloud. Maybe it's here. How do I get to the Cloud Modeler? That's the question. Diagrams, here we go. Create a new diagram. Okay, so let's do the same thing here. Start, and then a user task. Oh, this is pretty cool. Enter message. Enter message. Okay, and then a service task, which is send email. Dun, dun, dun. Send email, and then end. Okay, and then ID, Camunda Cloud Quick Start. Oh, that's pretty cool. Diagram name goes here. This is called send email. Oh, that's a bit of a bug. Okay. Send email. That. Enter message. Name, enter message. Yep. The ID. Enter message task. Send email. Okay, so it's here, email, and this is called a send email task. Okay, so if I save this, what happens? Diagram saved. Deployment. Okay, deployment, save and deploy. Let's try that. Deploy on this cluster. No, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm in the wrong organization. Can I export this? Yep, export as XML. Oh, pretty cool. Okay, but let me go back to my Camunda Cloud. Okay, so I guess most users are going to have one organization. I'm in 3. So I need to be in this organization. So my diagrams, they can be deployed into different clusters, but only within the organization. Diagrams, are they in here? No, no diagrams. Create a diagram. I think I can upload one. Let's have a look. Import new diagram. Yes. So this is one way that I can do it. Let's go to workspace, Camunda. I downloaded it into Scratch actually. CC 1.0, Camunda Cloud Get Started, process. And then I can choose this one. Yeah. Okay, so I can import things. There is actually one piece missing from my version here, this diagram, which is the form. So if I go back here, this user task is going to have a form. Model the user task form. So let's try that. So I'm going to create a new form. Okay, drop in a text field. And the text field label is email content. Email content, like that. And then there's a field description. Please enter the email message content, I think. Like that. And then the key is message. And it's required. Now, the way that I get this into the diagram is I go to the JSON view, I grab this, the JSON, copy it, go back to my diagram, go into my user task, and then in forms, paste it into the form JSON config, like that. There we go. That's how you connect the form to the diagram. So there's no link between them. So if I update the form, the form's not going to update in the business process. I have to, copy and paste the JSON into the actual diagram itself. We have a look at this one here, which is the pre-baked one that comes with the demo. It's already in there. And then actually we can open the enter email message form. Here it is. Key message underscore content. Okay, that's interesting. So I should go back to not the JSON view, but the other view. Yeah, it's message underscore content, like that. Maps to a process variable. Epic. Pasted it in. Let me see if I can do this in the Camunda Cloud console. Forms. Okay. It's all in there. Path, message underscore content, looks good. Save that. Yep, this is in my playground. Diagram saved. That would be useful if it actually appeared near the button. Okay, but let's see if we can create a new... No, you can't create a form on here. Let's go back here to the playground. Diagrams, forms. Okay, there's a form builder. Create a new form. Okay, cool. Okay, so you can create a form here. It's just in a different place. Email form. Email message. Field description. Please enter the email message content. And this one here is message underscore content. Yo. Required. There we go. Very good. Email form. Save. And form save. But how do I get the JSON? You have to export as JSON. I can't actually view the JSON on here by the look of it. Okay, that's a little bit... since I have to paste the JSON into the diagram, and then I've got to actually go back. Okay, so the desktop modeler is definitely wins on points for this task. Come on, a model for desktop, yo. Okay, so here's my diagram, here's my form, here's the pre-baked one, and the pre-baked form. Pretty simple. Last thing, the ability to deploy this pre-baked one to the cluster from the modeler. So I just can click deploy diagram to Camunda Cloud. Epic. And then I can choose between Camunda Cloud Self-Managed or Camunda Cloud SaaS. So to get these cluster ID, client secret, I go to a cluster. So, automated tests is the cluster that I'm using. It's my 1.0 cluster. I go to API, client credentials, create a new client credential. I'm just going to call this one delete me. And create. It creates it. I get the client ID, the client secret. I can download them, which is a good idea because you can't see them again. And then I paste them into here, client ID, client secret. Where do I get the cluster ID from? So I'm not going to bother downloading it because I'm going to delete it. Delete. Let me show you where you get the cluster ID from. If I go to overview, cluster ID is here. So I can grab it from here. It also is the prefix in the credentials that you download for the ZB address, and it also appears in the URL. So there it is, the cluster ID. You can see I got the cluster ID here. Deploy. So it's going to do its deployment thing. Deployment succeeded. I can also start an instance here. So if let's go to operate, which is the management interface for running processes in Camunda Cloud. So I go to the operate instance for my cluster. 100 instances with incident. Okay. That is a failing test, is what that is. 11 active instances. Let's clean things up to start with, hey? So let's have a look at these incidents by error message. I'm just going to select all of them. Apply an operation on 100 instances, cancel, goodbye. Let's clean things up. Start with a clean slate. Okay. It's doing its thing. Canceling 100, they're all gone. Now there are 11 instances. These 11 instances are another failing test by the look of it. Okay, let's cancel all these. Apply. Okay, running instances, none, 0, nada, nothing. Dashboard. 0 running instances in total. Okay, let's start an instance of this model. So start an instance. Ooh, did I click it? Nope. Or did I select the window? Let's try it again. Process instance deployed and started successfully. Process model deployed and instance started successfully. It started too. So yeah, there's no feedback from this. This maybe should give some kind of feedback. Report an issue. Single sign-on, initiating SAML. Okay, so feature request, idea of general improvement. I think we'll call that. So when starting a process instance from the modeler. Okay, so feedback. Let's call it that. Okay. I am always frustrated. That's what they said to say. That was the example. I'm not always frustrated, but I'm just going to say that because that's what they said to say. I'm always frustrated when starting a process instance from the desktop modeler because it gives me no feedback that an operation is in progress, and I forget whether or not I press the button because ADHD, Australian rock band, and press it again. starting 2 instances. Solution you'd like. Button to be disabled when operation is in progress. Okay, maybe a toast to say doing the thing. Additional context. Okay, submit the new issue. Enhancement. Yay. Okay. Making the internet a better place. One issue report at a time. So we have 2 active instances now of send email. Let's have a look at them. They're both stopped at the enter message phase, 2 of them. Let's have a look at one of them. Ta-da! So if I go back to my Cloud Console for this cluster, my automated test cluster, I have ZB, I got operate, and I have task list. So if I launch the task list for this cluster, I'm going to see a task list. Wow, what a surprise. Here they are. Okay. Enter the message, process send email, assignee. So I can claim the task to start working on it. And then in here I type, this is the content of the email, yo. Complete the task. Creation time. It doesn't have any metadata about the instance number, so let's just refresh this one and see if it was this instance. Has it moved on to the next phase? Nope. So it was the other instance. Let's go back here. Should see 1 on each. Running instances. Go back to the dashboard. 2 active instances. Get rid of the operations panel. Somehow there's a way where I can see, okay, I think if I go send email in here, send email, I get like an overview of, yes, so there we go, 1 at each phase. Okay, it's this one here. It's cool. So if we click on this instance ID, we should be able to inspect the variables and we can see, yeah. So the form has now added a variable to the payload of the process instance with a variable name message content, and this is the content of the email yo from the form. Pretty cool. That's how it works. So in order for us to actually send the email, what we need to do is create a worker. So write some client-side code that subscribes to topics of type, let's have a look, email, grabs the jobs when they're available, and then does the thing and completes the job in the engine. So we are going to have a look at that in the next episode of this walk through the guide, which is coming very shortly. Very shortly.